With a roar, Jake summoned every ounce of strength he had. He charged at Zorak, channeling the energy into a single, powerful punch. The impact sent Zorak staggering back, his confidence shaken for the first time. The other Kavar soldiers hesitated, unsure of their leader's fate. Seeing their doubt, the rebels rallied. Kira and the others pressed forward, taking advantage of Zorak's momentary weakness. They fought with a new vigor, their spirits lifted by Jake's bravery. The tide of battle shifted as the rebels gained ground, pushing back the Kavar soldiers. Zorak, however, was not defeated yet. He growled in frustration and called for reinforcements. "You will regret this, human!" he spat, charging back into the fray. Jake felt a surge of adrenaline. He knew they had to end this quickly. "Together!" Jake shouted to his friends. The rebels rallied around him, forming a tight circle as they prepared to face Zorak's wrath. With a determined shout, they all lunged forward, a united force against their enemy. In a fierce clash, they surrounded Zorak, striking from all sides. The Kavar leader roared in anger, swinging wildly. But this time, he was outnumbered. Jake and Kira delivered powerful blows, each one filled with the weight of their shared struggle. Zorak fought valiantly, but he was no match for the combined strength of the rebels. Finally, with one last push, Jake delivered a devastating blow that sent Zorak crashing to the ground. The room fell silent as the Kavar leader lay defeated. The rebels cheered, their voices echoing through the control room. They had done it! They had won! With Zorak defeated, the remaining Kavar soldiers surrendered. Jake felt a wave of relief wash over him. The fight for freedom had been long and hard, but they had emerged victorious. The rebels quickly moved to secure the base, ensuring that no one else would rise to threaten them again. As the dust settled, Jake looked around at his friends. They were battered but filled with hope. Kira approached him, her eyes shining. "You did it, Jake! You led us to victory!" she exclaimed, pride evident in her voice. Jake smiled, feeling a sense of belonging he had never known before. "We did it together," he replied, grateful for their support. "I couldn't have done it without all of you." The rebels gathered to celebrate their victory. They shared stories of bravery and laughter, relief washing over them like a warm breeze. Jake felt a sense of pride swell within him, knowing he had played a part in their freedom. But deep down, he also felt the weight of his responsibility. "I need to return to Earth," Jake said, looking at Kira and the others. "Our home needs to know what we did here." The rebels nodded, understanding his desire to share their story. With newfound strength, they prepared to leave the alien ship. As they boarded their stolen vessel, Jake looked back at the Kavar base. He knew they had faced incredible challenges, but they had also forged bonds that would last a lifetime. As the ship soared through the stars, Jake felt a deep sense of purpose. He was no longer just a boy, he was a hero, a symbol of hope for his people. He had faced his fears and emerged stronger than ever. The fight for freedom was just beginning, and he was ready to lead the way. With the stars shining brightly around them, Jake knew that he would always fight for what was right. The universe was vast and full of challenges, but he would never back down. He had found his strength, and he was ready for whatever lay ahead. The hero had returned, and his journey was just beginning. In a quiet neighborhood, a sunny afternoon filled the air with warmth. Children played outside, and laughter echoed through the streets. In one of the backyards, a curious 10-year-old boy named Jake was busy digging in the dirt. Jake was no ordinary kid. He had an adventurous spirit and a wild imagination. He loved exploring and searching for hidden treasures, thinking that every dig could reveal something amazing. As he dug deeper, Jake's small shovel hit something hard. Curious, he cleared away the dirt and revealed a strange, glowing rock. It was not like any rock he had ever seen before. It shone with a bright blue light, casting shadows all around him. Jake's heart raced with excitement. He picked it up, feeling a warm energy pulsing through it. "Wow, this is incredible!" he exclaimed, his eyes wide with wonder. Unbeknownst to Jake, the rock was not just a simple treasure. It was an ancient artifact, linked to powerful super soldiers from long ago. The moment he touched it, something awakened inside him. But he didn't realize this yet. All he felt was a sense of adventure and curiosity, and he thought about how cool it would be to show this rock to his friends. That evening, as the sun began to set, Jake placed the rock carefully on his bedside table. He tried to sleep, but strange dreams filled his mind. He saw images of battles and warriors, glowing lights, and powerful forces. When he woke up, he brushed off the dreams, thinking they were just his imagination. Meanwhile, far away in space, the Kavar, a ruthless alien race, had been watching Earth. They were a fierce group of warriors known for their strength and cunning. They had heard rumors about the glowing rock and its connection to super soldiers. Their leader, Zorak, ordered a team to investigate. He believed that if they could find this artifact and eliminate the child, they would stop a potential threat to their empire. Back on Earth, Jake's life was about to change forever. One night, while he slept, a strange light filled his room. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed outside. Jake woke up with a start. He looked out his window and saw a massive spaceship hovering above his backyard. Fear and excitement rushed through him. He couldn't believe his eyes. Before he could think, a beam of light shot down from the ship and surrounded him. Jake felt a strange pulling sensation as he was lifted into the air. "No! What's happening?" he shouted, but no one could hear him. In an instant, he was pulled into the spaceship, disappearing from his room. Inside the ship, Jake found himself in a cold metal room. Confused and scared, he looked around, trying to understand where he was. The walls were shiny, and strange machines hummed around him. He noticed several aliens moving about, their eyes wide and bright. They were unlike anything he had ever seen, tall, with green skin and sharp features. One of the aliens pointed at him and spoke in a harsh, guttural language. Jake could not understand, but the tone sounded threatening. Panic rose within him. "I have to get out of here," he thought. His heart raced as he realized that he might be in danger. Just then, something inside him stirred. He remembered the rock and felt its energy pulsing through him. Without knowing how, he summoned the strength within him. He kicked at the door of the room, and to his surprise, it swung open with ease. The aliens gasped in shock, but Jake didn't wait. He ran out into the ship, determined to find a way back home. As he dashed down the corridor, Jake's senses heightened. He could hear the aliens talking, their voices filled with confusion. He felt faster and stronger than ever before. "I have to escape," he thought, his mind racing with possibilities. Little did he know that his journey was only just beginning, and he was destined for greatness as a super soldier. Jake's heart filled with determination. He had to figure out what was happening, and he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The adventure of a lifetime awaited him, one that would change not just his life, but the fate of Earth itself. Jake sprinted through the cold, metallic corridors of the alien spaceship, his heart pounding in his chest. Every step felt powerful, and he could hear the distant chatter of the Kavar aliens behind him. He didn't understand their language, but their tone was filled with anger and fear. Jake felt a strange rush of energy coursing through him, making him feel alive and alert. As he ran, he stumbled into a large room filled with strange machines and blinking lights. The walls were lined with screens displaying images from across the galaxy. Jake's eyes widened in awe. What is this place, he wondered. His mind raced as he tried to make sense of everything. Suddenly, a voice boomed from a speaker above him. "Intruder detected! Capture the human!" It was the Kavar leader, Zorak, speaking to his crew. Panic surged through Jake. He knew he had to keep moving. Just then, he noticed a door at the far end of the room. He darted toward it, pushing his small body against it with all his strength. The door opened, and he slipped inside. In the new room, Jake found himself surrounded by strange devices. Some were glowing, while others hummed softly. He felt drawn to one machine that seemed to vibrate with energy. As he approached it, he placed his hand on its surface. Instantly, a surge of warmth filled his body, and he gasped in surprise. Suddenly, images flooded his mind. Visions of battles, training, and a world he didn't recognize. He saw himself as a soldier fighting alongside powerful allies. Jake's heart raced as he realized that these were not just dreams. They were memories of a past life. The energy from the machine awakened something deep within him, something he didn't know existed. Just then, the door burst open. A group of Kavar soldiers stormed in, their eyes wide with disbelief. Jake felt a rush of fear, but at the same time, he felt something else, a newfound confidence. He knew he had to fight back. With a fierce determination, Jake turned to face the soldiers. As they approached, he felt the energy inside him surge even stronger. He moved faster than he ever had before, dodging the first soldier and delivering a powerful kick to another. The alien stumbled back, shock written on its face. Jake couldn't believe what he had just done. The fear that once consumed him began to fade. He realized that he was not just a frightened boy, He was powerful. The soldiers regrouped, their faces showing a mix of anger and fear. They rushed at him again, but Jake was ready. Using his speed and agility, he fought with a grace that surprised even him. He ducked, dodged, and struck with precision. The Kavar soldiers couldn't keep up. One by one, they fell to the ground, unable to comprehend how a mere child was defeating them. Jake felt a thrill rush through him with every victory, each move coming more naturally than the last. As the last soldier crumpled to the ground, Jake stood in the center of the room, breathing heavily. He felt a mix of triumph and disbelief. "What is happening to me?" he thought. The glowing rock, the visions, the energy, it was all connected. Jake had become something more than just a boy. He had awakened the super soldier within. Realizing he couldn't stay in the room forever, Jake dashed back into the corridor. He needed to find a way out of the ship. As he moved quickly through the ship, he found that his senses had sharpened. He could hear the faint sounds of the Kavar soldiers discussing his escape plans. "I have to warn others," he thought, knowing that the rebels he had met earlier needed to know what he had become. With his newfound powers, he felt ready to face any challenge. Suddenly, he spotted a group of aliens ahead, huddled together and looking worried. They were the rebels who had been fighting against the Kavar. They looked up as Jake approached, their eyes filled with surprise and hope. "Jake, you made it!" one of them exclaimed. "We thought you were captured. I escaped, and I'm stronger than ever," Jake declared, his voice filled with excitement. He quickly explained what had happened inside the ship, the awakening of his powers, and the battle he had just fought. The rebels listened, amazed. They could see the determination in Jake's eyes. "Together we can fight back against the Kavar," Jake said, rallying their spirits. "They won't take us without a fight." With that, a new adventure began. Jake and the rebels prepared for the challenges ahead, ready to take on the Kavar and protect their home. The journey of a super soldier had just begun. Jake stood among the rebels, his heart pounding with determination. The room was filled with a mix of fear and excitement as they discussed their next move. The Kavar had taken many of their friends and family, and now it was time to fight back. Jake could feel the energy within him, a fire that fueled his desire to protect his home. "Listen up!" shouted a tall rebel named Kira. She had bright red hair and fierce green eyes. "The Kavar are planning to invade Earth with their entire fleet. We need to stop them before it's too late." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed her words. Jake felt a wave of urgency wash over him. He knew they had to act fast. "Jake," Kira said, turning to him, "you have powers we've never seen before. We need you to lead the charge." The others nodded in agreement, their faces filled with hope. Jake felt a mix of fear and excitement. Leading was a big responsibility, but he couldn't let his friends down. "I'll do it!" Jake replied, his voice steady. "We need to gather our forces and find a way to fight back. We can't let the Kavar take our planet." The rebels cheered, their spirits lifting. They quickly began planning their strategy, discussing how to disrupt the Kavar's operations and save their captured comrades. As they worked, Jake felt a surge of energy within him. He remembered the glowing rock and the visions of battles he had seen. "I can do this," he thought, focusing on the strength that pulsed through him. "We all can." The rebels set out to gather more fighters. They traveled through the spaceship, moving quietly to avoid detection. Jake led the way, using his newfound speed to scout ahead. They found a group of aliens who had been hiding, afraid to join the fight. Jake spoke to them, his voice filled with passion. "You have to help us! Together we can defeat the Kavar. If we fight as one, we can take back our freedom." Inspired by Jake's bravery, more rebels joined their cause. Soon they had formed a small army ready to face the Kavar. They gathered weapons and supplies, preparing for the battle that lay ahead. Jake felt more confident than ever. He was no longer just a scared child, he was a leader and a warrior. The time had come. With their army ready, Jake and the rebels boarded a stolen Kavar ship. As they set off toward the Kavar's main base, Jake's heart raced. He could see the glowing lights of the Kavar fleet in the distance, and he knew this was their chance to strike. "Stay focused!" Jake called out to his friends. "We stick together no matter what happens." They nodded, each one determined to fight for their freedom. The ship approached the Kavar base, and Jake felt the energy inside him building. He was ready for the fight. As they landed, the rebels spilled out of the ship, weapons raised high. The Kavar soldiers were caught off guard. "Now!" Jake shouted, and the battle began. The sound of blasters filled the air as both sides clashed. Jake moved with incredible speed, dodging enemy fire and striking down the Kavar soldiers one by one. He fought alongside the rebels, who were inspired by his bravery. Kira and other fighters moved in sync with him, their teamwork sharp and effective. They pushed forward, determined to reach the center of the base where the Kavar leader, Zorak, awaited. As they fought through the base, Jake could feel the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He knew the fate of Earth depended on their success. With every soldier they defeated, he felt more empowered, more connected to the energy that surged within him. Finally, they reached the main control room. Zorak stood there, a sinister smile on his face. "You think you can defeat me, little human?" he taunted. Jake felt a wave of fear wash over him, but he stood tall. "We're here to free our people, Zorak," Jake said, his voice steady. "You won't take Earth without a fight." The rebel army stood behind him, ready to defend their home. With a roar, Zorak charged at Jake, and the final battle began. Jake could feel his heart racing, adrenaline coursing through him. He was not just fighting for himself, he was fighting for everyone he loved. The time for freedom had come, and he was ready to claim it. The battle raged on, fierce and chaotic. Jake fought bravely alongside the rebels, his heart filled with determination. Zorak, the Kavar leader, had unleashed all his forces to stop them, but Jake and his friends pressed on, unwilling to back down. Each moment was a test of their strength, but they had come too far to give up now. As the smoke cleared, Jake found himself face to face with Zorak in the heart of the control room. Zorak towered over him, his fierce eyes glinting with anger. "You think you can defeat me, human?" he bellowed, his voice echoing through the chamber. Jake could feel the weight of his words, but he stood tall, unwavering. "We are fighting for our freedom," Jake shouted back. "And we will not let you take our home." With those words, he lunged forward, using the skills he had gained from his memories of past battles. He dodged Zorak's powerful strikes, countering with precise blows that landed hard. The two clashed fiercely, their movements a blur of speed and power. Jake could feel the energy inside him building with every strike. He remembered the visions of the super soldier he had once been. It was time to unleash that power.